The atmosphere crackled with a blend of anticipation and trepidation. Dr. Carter's voice, calm yet commanding, explained that tonight we would engage in an exercise of radical vulnerability. Before we start diving into the story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe. It only takes a second, but it will help the channel grow. Thank you for your interest in our channel. I am Emily, and I remember a time when every day felt like a new canvas painted with unexpected hues. Now, as I sit in our cozy Chicago apartment, the walls seem to echo the relentless tick of a predetermined routine. Each morning, Nathan and I rise with the same predictable rhythm, coffee in hand, half-hearted greetings exchanged in the dim light of dawn, and silent acknowledgments of the days that blend one into another. Our apartment, once a sanctuary of shared dreams and spontaneous laughter, has gradually transformed into a stage where life is played out like a script written long ago, devoid of surprises. The transformation was subtle at first. I began noticing the mechanical precision in Nathan's actions, a barely perceptible pause before a smile, a delayed response that spoke of a heart no longer racing with the same fervor it once did. It was as if a quiet void had crept between us, a chasm filled with the remnants of words left unspoken and emotions that had quietly withered away. I would often find myself staring out the window at the bustling city below, feeling a disconnect that resonated deeply within me. Even in moments of physical closeness, my inner world remained locked in a numb isolation, a stark contrast to the intimacy we once shared. One cool evening, as dusk painted the sky in shades of melancholy, I lay in our bedroom and was struck by an overwhelming realization. I felt dead inside. It wasn't just the tiredness of the day, but a profound emptiness, a slow, sinking feeling that my soul had been reduced to a mere spectator in my own life. The realization was both terrifying and oddly liberating. It forced me to confront the possibility that we had allowed our passion to slip into the crevices of routine, leaving behind only a distant echo of what we used to be. And in that moment, as silence filled the space between my thoughts, the journey toward rediscovering ourselves began to whisper its first uncertain notes. The following days unfolded with a persistent heaviness, as if a secret shadow had been cast over every interaction. I began to notice even more subtle fissures in the facade of our everyday life. A missed look, a pause before laughter, a hesitance that hinted at something unsaid. It was during one of those long, silent evenings that the tension between us reached a quiet crescendo. We sat in the living room, the city's lights flickering beyond the window like distant memories, when Nathan broke the stillness with a tentative remark. "I feel like we're trapped in a cycle, Emily," he said softly, his eyes scanning the space between us as if searching for a connection that had long since faded. "Every day feels the same, and I wonder if we've lost something we can't get back." His words, simple yet piercing, struck a chord deep within me. I recalled countless moments where I had felt my spirit retreat behind a mask of numb acceptance. My heart pounded with a mixture of guilt and relief, a guilt for not voicing my own inner turmoil sooner, and a relief that someone else had recognized the dissonance. "I've been feeling it too," I admitted, my voice barely rising above a whisper. "It's like our lives have become a series of rehearsed actions, and somewhere along the line, the passion got buried under routine." Nathan's eyes softened with both regret and determination. "Maybe it's time we try to find our way back," he suggested, a spark of hope lighting up his tired features. "We owe it to ourselves to explore what's missing, whatever it may be." That evening, as we lay awake long after the conversation had ended, the silence between us felt different, no longer just the sound of routine, but a canvas waiting to be repainted. There was a mutual understanding that something essential had to change, a realization that the mechanical comfort of habit was no substitute for genuine connection. The dialogue had opened a door to our hidden doubts and unspoken needs, leaving us both poised on the brink of a journey into the unknown, desperate to recapture the spark that once ignited our souls. After that candid conversation, the weight of our stagnant routine pressed down on us even more forcefully. We knew that staying in our familiar yet suffocating world was no longer an option. With a shared, unspoken resolve, Nathan and I decided it was time to seek help. We arranged an appointment with Dr. Carter, a renowned specialist whose unconventional approach to emotional crises had already sparked whispers of hope among those who felt lost in the labyrinth of routine. The day of our meeting was a whirlwind of nervous anticipation. Instead of the sterile, intimidating atmosphere of a typical therapist's office, Dr. Carter had chosen an unexpected venue, a stylish, sunlit art cafe on the edge of the city. As we stepped inside, the ambiance immediately softened our apprehensions. The space was a fusion of modern design and creative spirit, with abstract paintings adorning the walls, soft acoustic melodies playing in the background, and the gentle hum of thoughtful conversation blending into a comforting backdrop. We were greeted by Dr. Carter himself, whose warm smile and relaxed demeanor eased the tension that had accumulated over weeks of unspoken despair. "Welcome," he said, extending a hand that was both inviting and reassuring. "Today, we begin not with an analysis of what's wrong, but with a journey toward discovering what might be restored." His words carried a subtle promise of renewal, stirring something deep within me that I hadn't felt in years, a spark of possibility. Sitting across from him, Nathan and I shared glances that reflected our internal conflicts, a mix of skepticism, vulnerability, and a desperate longing for connection. Dr. Carter encouraged us to speak freely, inviting each of us to reveal our innermost feelings without fear of judgment. As we tentatively began to peel away layers of routine and unacknowledged pain, the cafe's creative energy seemed to infuse us with a newfound courage. I realized that this unconventional setting, so far removed from the confines of our everyday lives, offered not just a space for dialogue, but also a canvas for transformation. In that moment, surrounded by art and authenticity, we embraced the possibility that change, though uncertain, might finally be within reach. A week later, we found ourselves driving out of Chicago towards the quiet outskirts of Winchester, where an abandoned winery awaited us, a place where time seemed to have paused amidst rows of weathered vines and crumbling stone walls. The air was crisp and laced with the scent of earth and aging grapes, a stark contrast to the city's relentless pace. As we stepped off the car, the solitude of the vineyard enveloped us like a long-forgotten embrace, whispering promises of renewal and hidden truths. The retreat was meticulously planned by Dr. Carter, who believed that stepping into a world so far removed from our habitual routine might awaken parts of us that had lain dormant. We began our day with a silent walk along the vine-lined paths, each step stirring a mix of apprehension and anticipation. The silence was profound, not a cold absence, but a charged quiet that invited reflection and introspection. During a brief pause beneath an ancient oak, Nathan reached for my hand. His grip was tentative yet earnest. "Emily, I feel as if these vines hold memories of everything we once were," he murmured, his voice soft, almost reverent. I nodded, overwhelmed by the raw beauty of the moment. The natural surroundings seemed to mirror the intricate web of our emotions, fragile, intertwined, and resilient. Later, in a rustic room lit by the gentle glow of twilight seeping through cracked windows, we engaged in a series of exercises designed to strip away our emotional defenses. Dr. Carter guided us through breathing practices and trust-building rituals that pushed us to confront the unspoken hurts and faded dreams buried within. With each shared confession, every tear and smile, the walls we had built around ourselves began to crumble. In that secluded haven, embraced by the history of the land and the silent testimony of nature, we sensed that something transformative was taking root, a delicate hope that perhaps, in rediscovering our own depths, we could reforge the bond that once united us. In the weeks that followed our vineyard retreat, the hunger for renewal pushed us toward even bolder experiments. Determined to break free from the relentless grip of routine, Nathan and I plunged into contrasting environments, each designed to stir something dormant within us. Our next venture led us to a bustling street food festival, a sensory overload of aromas, vibrant colors, and a cacophony of laughter and conversation. The festival, with its spontaneous energy, offered a stark counterpoint to the quiet introspection of the vineyard. Here, amidst the sizzling grills and boisterous chatter, we attempted to rediscover each other through playful banter and shared indulgence in exotic flavors. Yet, even as the festival's dynamism ignited fleeting sparks of joy, a lingering disquiet began to whisper doubts. In moments of light-hearted laughter, I found myself questioning whether these bursts of excitement could truly penetrate the deep-seated barriers that had long divided our inner selves. Not long after, seeking refuge from the clamor, we sought solace in a local library, a sanctuary of silence and reflection. Among towering shelves laden with stories of distant lands and untold dreams, we tried a different approach. Instead of the visceral rush of the festival, we exchanged books and personal notes, each passage and paragraph an attempt to articulate emotions that words in our daily life had failed to express. In the quiet corners of the library, the soft rustle of pages seemed to echo the subdued murmurs of our hearts. Yet, despite the intimate ambience, a subtle melancholy lingered. The connection we forged in the library felt fragile, as if it might dissolve at the slightest provocation. Each scenario, so distinct in its energy and pace, reflected the duality of our struggle, a tug-of-war between transient moments of reconnection and the enduring shadow of internal emptiness. While the festival reminded us of life's spontaneous zest, the library underscored our deep-seated need for introspection and genuine understanding. Amid these diverse experiences, I wrestled with a growing inner conflict, a persistent sense that, despite our best efforts, a part of me remained untouched, locked away behind layers of past hurts and unsaid truths. It was as if the true essence of our connection lay buried beneath the surface of these grand gestures, awaiting discovery in the quiet spaces between our shared adventures. In this crossroads of doubt and discovery, the question loomed large. Could we truly mend the invisible fractures of our souls, or were these experiments mere fleeting reprieves from a deeper unspoken void? The crescendo of our journey came unexpectedly in a loft transformed into a creative haven, a place where raw emotion and artistic experimentation merged. Dr. Carter had organized a session unlike any we had experienced before, a hybrid of art therapy and intimate trust exercises designed to unveil the hidden corners of our souls. In this space, whitewashed walls bore canvases of abstract expressions, and every corner hummed with the energy of creative possibility. As we settled into a circle with a few other couples, the atmosphere crackled with a blend of anticipation and trepidation. Dr. Carter's voice, calm yet commanding, explained that tonight we would engage in an exercise of radical vulnerability. We would paint our innermost emotions without the filter of words, trusting that the brushstrokes would reveal what our voices had long been too cautious to utter. I glanced at Nathan, whose eyes were a tumult of uncertainty and hope, a silent acknowledgement that this was the moment we had both been dreading and desiring. With trembling hands, I dipped my brush into a vibrant pool of crimson, the color of passion and pain intermingled. Each stroke was deliberate, a confession of hidden sorrows and desperate longing. Nathan, seated beside me, hesitated before adding his own strokes to a shared canvas, his movements tentative but determined. The room filled with the quiet sound of bristles against canvas, an intimate symphony of unspoken truths. In that shared silence, every mark, every blend of color spoke volumes about the fractures and fissures that had long divided us. Midway through the exercise, the weight of years spent in routine and emotional distancing crashed upon me like a tidal wave. Overwhelmed by the raw intensity of the moment, tears welled in my eyes. I could no longer hold back the torrent of emotions that had been bottled up inside me. "Nathan," I whispered, my voice thick with emotion, "I need you to see me, the real me, unguarded and unfiltered." He turned to me, his expression softening as if awakening from a long, numb slumber. In that moment, our silent canvases merged into a single tapestry of vulnerability and truth, erasing the barriers that had kept us apart. As the session drew to a close, we stepped back to examine the chaotic yet beautiful masterpiece we had created together. It was an unvarnished depiction of our innermost selves, a testament to the pain, hope, and the desperate desire for reconnection that had driven us to this breaking point. The experience was not a cure-all, nor did it promise an immediate return to our past bliss. Instead, it marked the first authentic leap toward healing, a fragile but real bridge built on honesty, creativity, and the courage to confront the parts of ourselves that we had long hidden away. In the quiet aftermath of that transformative session, Nathan and I found ourselves enveloped in a delicate stillness, a pause that felt both final and pregnant with possibility. Back in our Chicago apartment, the familiar space now appeared subtly transformed. The worn furniture and familiar corners no longer held the same oppressive weight. Instead, they whispered of the journeys we had undertaken and the fragile hope that lay ahead. That night, as I lay awake listening to the distant hum of the city, I replayed the myriad emotions we had experienced, the hesitant steps of our modern dance, the introspective silence of the library, and the unfiltered vulnerability captured on canvas. Each moment, raw and real, had chipped away at the invisible walls we had built over years of routine. Yet a part of me still trembled with uncertainty. The breakthrough in the loft had been profound, but it left behind more questions than answers. Could this sudden openness be sustained? Would the warmth we had kindled persist beyond the thrill of experimentation? Nathan's gentle presence beside me offered silent reassurance. In the early hours of dawn, as the first light crept through our window, we sat together in quiet reflection. There were no grand declarations or promises of instant salvation, only a mutual understanding that this was a beginning, not an end. We spoke in soft, measured tones about our fears, our hopes, and the ever-present shadow of our past selves. The conversation was laden with honesty, touching on the raw wounds and tentative dreams that had surfaced over the past weeks. It was a dialogue marked not by flawless solutions, but by a shared commitment to keep seeking, to keep daring to feel deeply. That morning, as I watched Nathan prepare a modest breakfast, the simple act resonated with new significance. Every gesture, once overshadowed by habitual indifference, now shone with a quiet promise of renewal. I realized that the journey toward true intimacy was as unpredictable as it was necessary, a continuous dance between vulnerability and resilience, between fear and hope. Though the future remained uncertain, the spark we had reignited was a testament to our willingness to embrace the messiness of real life. With hearts still scarred yet courageously open, we stepped into the day, ready to explore the fragile, beautiful tapestry of our shared existence, knowing that the quest for genuine connection was a lifelong voyage worth every risk. In the months following our renewed dawn, life presented itself as an ever-evolving canvas of possibility and challenge. The echoes of our past routines still whispered occasionally, a reminder of days when our connection had slipped into monotony. Yet, every shared morning and quiet conversation in our Chicago apartment now carried a deeper significance. Nathan and I continued to forge a bond that was not defined by dramatic breakthroughs alone, but by the steady, often imperceptible, commitment to rediscovery. Our journey was far from over. We encountered new hurdles, a work crisis that drained our energies, unexpected losses that tested our resilience, and moments when the old patterns threatened to reemerge. In those times, we returned to the lessons learned in art, dance, and quiet introspection. A spontaneous trip to a hidden jazz club or a late-night walk through a rain-soaked street reminded us that vulnerability, when embraced together, could be our strongest shield against despair. One crisp evening, as we sat on our apartment's fire escape watching the city pulse with life below, Nathan spoke softly. "Emily, I know we're not perfect. But every day, in these small, honest moments, I feel more of us, more of who we're meant to be." His words, tender and sincere, resonated deep within me. I realized that our journey wasn't about erasing the past or crafting an ideal version of love. It was about accepting every fragment of our story, the pain, the beauty, and the uncertainty, and weaving them into a tapestry that was uniquely ours. Our future remained unwritten, and that uncertainty, instead of instilling fear, filled us with a cautious optimism. It was the recognition that true connection was not a destination, but a continuous, dynamic process of growth. With each new day, as we faced the unpredictable rhythms of life, we found solace in knowing that our commitment to exploring every facet of our bond was, in itself, a testament to love's enduring power. Time, ever relentless, moved forward, and with it came new challenges and quiet victories. Life had evolved into a tapestry woven with both familiar threads and unexpected colors. One crisp autumn morning, as Nathan and I prepared to step out into the brisk city air, a sense of anticipation mingled with a gentle anxiety. The renewed connection we had painstakingly rebuilt now faced the uncharted territories of everyday life, of career shifts, personal losses, and the unpredictable nature of human emotion. That day, as golden leaves danced around our feet, Nathan and I found ourselves reflecting on the journey that had transformed our relationship. Over coffee in a sunlit corner of a bustling cafe, we exchanged thoughts about the beauty of uncertainty. "It's not about having all the answers," Nathan observed quietly, his eyes tracing the patterns on the table, "but about embracing the questions and daring to live them out loud." His words, simple yet profound, resonated deeply within me. I realized that the process of healing was ongoing, not a destination, but a continual act of courage. In the following weeks, we decided to take another leap, a spontaneous weekend retreat to a seaside town, far removed from the relentless pace of Chicago. The ocean's endless horizon became a metaphor for our future, vast, mysterious, and full of potential. There, on a quiet beach where the rhythmic tide mirrored our own heartbeat, we spent long hours in reflective silence, interspersed with bursts of heartfelt conversation. We spoke of fears, dreams, and the countless small moments that had collectively redefined our love. That retreat, with its raw and unfiltered beauty, reaffirmed our belief that life's worth is measured not by the absence of uncertainty, but by our willingness to step forward into it. Each challenge we encountered, each moment of doubt, and every spark of connection became a reminder that love is as much about evolving together as it is about finding solace in one another. As we returned home, the memory of that seaside escape lingered like a gentle promise. We knew that the unknown would continue to beckon us with its bittersweet allure, yet we were ready. Together, with hearts attuned to both the fragile and the fierce, we embraced the unknown, a testament to our resilience, our shared growth, and the unending dance of renewal.